Welcome back. So in this video, we are going to observe how the Cafe application is designed to work. So to do that, we'll navigate through the HTML and Cafe, right? And then we'll look for the index.php file, right? We'll double click and then open it in the file editor to observe how it is worked or it is designed to work. So looking through the code, when you look at line 18, right, you can see this PHP file references the get parameters.php. Okay, and then if we open the get parameters PHP, we can also see on line 3 that it requires what the AWS SDK / AWS.far or .phar file, right? So the AWS SDK is invoked, right, on the get parameters.php. Now, if you check from line 10 here up to line 33, okay, the web application creates a client that connects to the SSM service, right? This is a SSM service, great, which is the AWS Systems Manager. Okay, so this application or the systems manager will then retrieve 7 parameters from the systems manager. So these are the 7 parameters, right? Show server info, cafe time zone, time zone, currency, the database URL, the database name, the database user, and then the database password. But we have not created these parameters yet. So in this session, we are going to create these parameters. So what we'll do is we'll go back to our shell or our bash terminal. Let me clear the screen. Okay, and we'll cd or we'll change directory into the setup directory, and then we'll just run the shell command that is in the setup directory. Sorry, so this one. Let me resize it. Great. So we are going to run first this one. So set up parameters. This is a shell file, right? A bash file. So we just run it. Or what we can do is we can even just right click it, okay, and then open or click on run. It will run. But because we are using the command line interface, we'll do everything here using Linux administration. So we just do a // and then set. Immediately I press the tab key to even automatically fill it for me, and I'll press enter, and now the file will run. So the script itself has been written already, right, to run these commands or to set parameters. So what we just did was to run it. Okay, so now it is run. So the parameters has been set. Now we can, to appreciate this, we can go to the AWS Systems Manager, right? So we'll do Systems Manager, right, and then check the parameter store. So if a parameter is set, or if you set parameters and which uses a service that invokes the systems manager service, these parameters are stored in the parameter store. So we open systems manager and then go to parameter store, and we'll be able to see these 7 parameters that we saw in the setup parameter configuration file or bash file. So we will need something from here, that is the cafe database password. So what we'll do is I'll click on the cafe database password, and we'll need this, right, the value, the password. So this is the password value, or this is the password. So we'll need this later. So I'll just leave this screen on and then go back to my Cloud9 interface. Okay, I'll clear the screen. I wouldn't want to have a lot of things on my screen, so I'll just clear the screen. And as I said, this doesn't do anything to the commands that you've entered, right? It just clears your screen to give you more room to type more commands. So now we will have to configure the SQL database to support the Cafe application. Okay, now the database is on its own, the Cafe is on its own, the Cafe application is also on its own. Now we have to configure the database to support or work with the Cafe application. So we'll change directory into the database directory, right? this way, because now we are in the setup directory. So what we are saying is that go back. The reason why we have these two dots here means that go back into the database directory, because now we are in the setup directory and there is no directory in the setup directory, or there's no subdirectory in the setup directory. So let me even do this. If I should do just cd and db, it will tell me there is no such file or directory, right? So I will have to enter there. We'll use, so it's just like me doing cd dot dot, it will go back and then I'll do cd db, right? But we just do it straightforward. So it means that if you go back now, enter the db directory, and that is done. So we are in the database directory, and we'll also run another file, right? In the db directory there is another shell file that is set root password. Okay, so we'll do dot. So it's just like right clicking to run it. We'll just do a dot / set root password.sh. okay, this is the file, and then I'll press enter, and then the set root password script is completed. So to check and then verify the successful execution, we can check the set root password log. So this is this log. We can open it to check it. So you can see create user. So there's the root username, and then it is granting all privileges to the root user, and then we also update the set user password. So this is the password that we will need. All right, so the password is this, and then the user is what? Root. Great. I just wanted us to appreciate it, and then we'll run the next one to create the db. Okay, so now create, and it also, so the database is now created for us. We can also open the createdb log, and we'll be able to see everything here, everything about the database, right? The database schema, everything that's, about the database, including tables and then product and then everything. So it is recorded in the log file. So I'll end the session here, and then I'll see you in the next session where we'll observe the database that we just created, right?